Have you ever checked your bank balance at the end of the month and asked yourself, where on earth did all my money disappear to? Maybe you work hard every day. Maybe your paycheck is perfectly decent. But somehow, by the final week of the month, you're scraping together loose change, skipping meals, or asking friends for a small loan just to make it to your next payday. You tell yourself, I simply don't earn enough. But somewhere inside, you already know that isn't the real story. What if the issue isn't your income at all, but the way you treat every single dollar that passes through your hands? This is the story of a man buried in debt until an elderly shop owner showed him 4 simple rules of arithmetic that completely reshaped how he thought about money. Stick around until the end. In a mid-sized city where everyone rushes off to work each morning and rushes back out to spend every evening, there lived a 28-year-old man named Daniel. Daniel worked as a junior bookkeeper at a shipping firm. His salary was fair, not extravagant, but plenty for a single guy to get by comfortably on. Yet Daniel had a problem. No matter how much he brought home, his account balance always hovered near zero by the 20th of every month. He rented a modest apartment with a roommate. His clothes were always new, sometimes suspiciously new. His phone was the newest release. His weekends were packed with restaurant dinners, late-night online orders, and impulse buys he'd completely forget about within days. The irony stung. Daniel was a bookkeeper. Every workday, he managed other people's money down to the penny. But his own finances slipped through his fingers like water through a leaky pail. His coworkers liked to joke, "Daniel, you're a wizard with numbers. You must be incredible with your own money." He'd laugh it off. Obviously. But inside, he felt like an imposter. His older sister, who lived out of town, called him once a month. She was an elementary school teacher who earned less than he did. And yet she owned a small condo, had savings tucked away, and never lost sleep over bills. "Daniel, have you started saving anything?" she'd ask. "I will, sis. Next month. It's just been an expensive stretch." It was always next month. What Daniel never admitted to anyone, he'd been carrying credit card debt that had been quietly growing for 2 years. Every month he paid the bare minimum. Every month the interest piled on more. It was like bailing water out of a tub while the faucet kept running full blast. The worst part? He didn't even know the exact number he owed. He was too afraid to look. Some nights, staring at the ceiling, the same question circled his head like a trapped bird. I earn a paycheck. Why am I always broke? What am I doing wrong? He had no answer, and that frightened him more than the debt itself. One Friday evening in autumn, Daniel went out to grab a few groceries. Nothing fancy, just rice, eggs, some vegetables. At the register, he tapped his card. Declined. He tried once more. Declined. The cashier eyed him. The customer behind him shifted, annoyed. Daniel's face went crimson. He mumbled an apology, left the bags on the counter, and walked out empty-handed. Outside in the cold evening air, he glanced at his phone. 3 alerts. An overdue credit card bill, a late fee on his phone plan, and a rent reminder from his landlord. His total account balance, $11.40. That night, he sat alone in his apartment. His roommate was out. The fridge was nearly bare. He boiled a packet of instant noodles, the cheapest kind, and ate in silence. Then his sister called. "Daniel, I need to tell you something. Mom needs dental surgery. It'll run around $2,000. I can cover half. Can you help with the rest?" $1,000. His own mother needed $1,000. And here he was, a man with a stable job, who couldn't even manage to buy groceries. "Let me check my finances," he said. "I'll call you back." He hung up and sat frozen for a long while. Then something inside him cracked. Not sadness, but shame. He whispered to himself, "I make money every single month. Where does it all go? I can't even help my own mother." The next morning, a Saturday, Daniel did something out of character. Instead of sleeping in, he wandered down to the old market district near his building. He wasn't sure why. Maybe he just needed to clear his head. He noticed a small stationery and bookshop he'd walked past 100 times, but never once entered. The sign was faded, the paint peeling, but inside the shop was tidy and orderly. Behind the counter sat an elderly man, somewhere in his 70s, dressed plainly, reading glasses perched on his nose, handwriting figures into a thick ledger. Daniel wandered the shelves without really looking for anything. The old man glanced up and studied him with quiet, sharp eyes. "You look like someone who's excellent with numbers but terrible with money," the old man said gently. Daniel froze. What makes you say that?" The old man smiled. "Because I was exactly like you 40 years ago. Sit, I'll pour some tea, and I'll teach you something no classroom ever will." Daniel sat on a wooden stool across from the shopkeeper. The tea was warm. The shop was silent, and what the old man said next would stay with Daniel for the rest of his life. The shopkeeper grabbed a blank sheet of paper and sketched 4 symbols: a plus sign, a minus sign, a multiplication sign, and a division sign. "Young man, everything you need to understand about money is hidden inside the 4 operations you learned in grade school: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division." He tapped the plus sign first. Most people assume addition just means earning more. That's only half right. True addition means adding things that protect and grow your wealth. He jotted a short list. Add knowledge. Learn how money actually functions, not just how to spend it. Add the habit of tracking every dollar that comes in and goes out. Add an emergency cushion, even a tiny one, so life's surprises don't flatten you. Add extra streams of income, even small ones, so you're never relying on a single paycheck. He looked at Daniel. "Tell me, do you track your spending?" Daniel shook his head. "Do you have an emergency fund?" Daniel looked down. "No." "Then you've been doing the math with only half the numbers. You can't solve an equation if you don't know what you're actually working with." The old man pointed to the minus sign. "Now, subtraction. This is the toughest one, because it demands honesty with yourself." He leaned in. Subtract emotional spending, buying things because you're sad, bored, or stressed. Subtract the habit of spending to impress people who don't actually care about you. Subtract every subscription, every recurring charge, every small drip that drains your wallet without you noticing. He lifted an old teacup off the shelf. It had a tiny crack near the base. "See this cup? If I pour tea in, it leaks out slowly. You won't notice right away, but after an hour, the cup is empty. That's exactly what needless spending does to your wallet. A coffee here, a subscription there, a gadget you use twice. Small leaks, big losses." Daniel stared at the cup. He thought of his streaming subscriptions, 3 running at once, his food delivery habit, the gym membership he hadn't touched in half a year, the new phone he bought while the old one still worked fine. Small leaks, every single month. "How do I find the cracks?" Daniel asked. "Write down everything you spent last month, everything. Then circle whatever genuinely improved your life. Cross out the rest. That's your subtraction." The old man tapped the multiplication sign. "Multiplication isn't about getting rich overnight. Forget that fantasy. Multiplication is about consistency." He sketched a simple example. If you set aside even a small amount every month and put it somewhere productive, it grows. A safe savings account, a modest investment. Over time, it multiplies, not through magic, but through patience. Build skills that raise your earning power. A certification, a side project, a freelance talent. Each one is a multiplier on your income. And the single most powerful multiplier of all? Passive income. Money that works while you sleep. It starts small, maybe just a few dollars a month. But over the years, it grows into real freedom. Finally, the old man pointed to the division sign. Division is the art of giving every dollar a job before it even arrives. He drew 4 boxes on the page: living expenses, savings, investment, emergency. When your paycheck lands, divide it immediately. Don't wait until month's end to see what's left. By then, there's nothing left. Divide first, spend what remains. He added 2 more boxes: learning and giving. Set some aside for your own growth. A course, a book, a tool that sharpens you. And set aside a little, even a small amount, to help someone else. Because money that's shared comes back to you in ways numbers can't measure. The old man set down his pen and looked at Daniel seriously. I've run this little shop for over 40 years. I never got rich, but I never went hungry either. I put my kids through school. I own this building. And I sleep soundly every night. Not because I earned a fortune, because I followed these 4 rules every single month without fail. He slid the paper toward Daniel. Take this. Go home. Look at your finances honestly, maybe for the first time. Apply these 4 operations for 3 months. Then come back and tell me what's changed. Daniel held the paper like it was something precious. Why are you helping me? He asked. You don't even know me. The old man smiled. Because 40 years ago, someone helped me, and I promised I'd pass it forward. That Saturday night, Daniel did something he'd avoided for 2 years. He sat down and listed every debt, every subscription, every monthly expense. The total shocked him. He was spending nearly a third of his salary on things he didn't need or couldn't even remember buying. He started with subtraction, the cracked cup. He canceled 2 of his 3 streaming services. He deleted the food delivery app from his phone. He froze his unused gym membership and started jogging in the park instead. He stopped buying coffee every morning and began brewing it at home. The first week felt uncomfortable. The second week felt strange. By the third week, he barely noticed the difference. At month's end, Daniel had money left over for the first time in 2 years. Not a fortune, but something. And that something felt like proof. He moved on to addition and division. He opened a separate savings account and set up an automatic transfer on payday. A fixed amount before he touched anything else. He created 4 simple categories in his notebook: living, saving, emergency, growth. Every dollar had a destination before it even arrived. He also began tracking his spending daily, just 5 minutes each evening, jotting down what he spent and why. A small habit, but it changed everything. He started noticing patterns he'd never seen before. He began reading, too. 1 book on personal finance, then another. Nothing complicated, just simple, practical knowledge about how money actually works. In the 3rd month, Daniel started thinking about multiplication. He used his bookkeeping skills to offer freelance accounting help on weekends, just a few hours for a small neighborhood bakery that needed its records organized. The pay was modest, but it was a second income stream he'd never had before. He put part of his savings into a simple, low-risk investment account, not chasing quick riches, just letting his money sit somewhere it could grow slowly. By the end of 3 months, Daniel's life looked the same from the outside. Same apartment, same job, same wardrobe. But everything underneath had shifted. His credit card debt was finally shrinking, not because he earned more, but because he'd stopped the leaks. His savings account had a small but growing balance. He had an emergency fund covering a full month of expenses. And he'd sent his mother the money for her surgery on time, without borrowing from anyone. One Saturday morning, Daniel walked back into the old bookshop. The shopkeeper looked up and smiled. You look different, lighter. Daniel sat down. I've followed your 4 rules every day for 3 months. I'm not rich, but for the first time in my life, I'm not afraid to look at my own bank account. The old man nodded. That's not financial success. That's financial peace. And peace is worth more than any number. Daniel pulled out his notebook, filled with 3 months of tracking, plans, and small victories. Can I ask you one more thing? Why do you write your numbers by hand in that ledger when a computer could do it faster? The old man tapped the ledger. Because when you write every number by hand, you feel it. You respect it. Money isn't just arithmetic. It's a relationship. And relationships require attention. My friend, Daniel's story isn't about becoming rich. It's about becoming free. Free from the anxiety of not knowing where your money went. Free from the shame of not being able to help the people you love. Free from the endless loop of earning, losing, and earning again. Here's what most people get wrong about money. The problem is rarely how much you make. The problem is that no one ever teaches us the fundamentals. We study algebra in school, but not how to manage a paycheck. We study history, but not how to build an emergency fund. We study science, but not how to stop spending money we don't have on things we don't need to impress people we don't even like. So remember the shopkeeper's 4 rules. Addition, add knowledge, add tracking, Add savings. Add extra income. Build your foundation. Subtraction. Remove emotional spending. Remove wasteful habits. Remove the leaks in your cracked cup. Be honest about what's draining you. Multiplication. Save consistently. Invest patiently. Build skills. Create income streams that work even while you rest. Division. Divide your money before you spend it. Give every dollar a job. And don't forget to set some aside for learning, for giving, and for the future. Here's your challenge, the same one the shopkeeper gave Daniel. Step 1. Tonight, sit down and write out every expense from last month. Every single one. Don't judge, just observe. Find the cracks in your cup. Step 2. Tomorrow, when your next paycheck lands, divide it first. Set aside savings before you spend a single dollar on anything else. Even a small amount. Start the habit. Step 3. Pick one thing to cut this week. One subscription you never use. One habit that costs money but adds nothing. Remove it. See how it feels. You don't need to earn more to live better. You need to understand the money you already have. Daniel was a bookkeeper who couldn't manage his own finances. If he could learn, so can you. It doesn't take a finance degree. It takes 4 simple rules, a notebook, and the courage to face the truth. The shopkeeper said something worth carrying with you. Money isn't just arithmetic. It's a relationship. And relationships require attention. Give your money attention. Respect it. Direct it. And it will start working for you instead of quietly disappearing on you. If this story gave you a fresh way to think about your finances, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe a friend who's always broke before payday, or a relative who never learned these basics. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of the 4 rules do you need to start with? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? I read every comment. Let's figure this out together. And subscribe to this channel. Remember, you learned addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division back when you were a kid. Now it's time to apply them to the most important subject no one ever taught you: your money, your freedom, your future. Start tonight. The cracked cup is still leaking, but now you know how to fix it.